Welcome back to another Valley Sports Club Arizona Cardinals recap. This is for Week 11. On November 21st, 2022, the Arizona Cardinals would travel down to Mexico City as the home team and take on the San Francisco 49ers. But it did not feel like a home game with all those 49ers fans in Aztec Stadium down there in Mexico City. The 49ers destroyed the Cardinals, a crushing 38-10 defeat. The 49ers now 6-4 in the division, and the Cardinals sit at 4-7. All right, now taking a look at some stats from the game. Colt McCoy would get the start again, throwing 24 completions on 34 attempts, 218 yards, no touchdowns today, but one interception. In the fourth quarter, Trace McSorley would come in and throw 6 completions on 10 attempts for 59 yards and also an interception. James Conner had 14 carries for 42 yards and got the only touchdown for the Cardinals in the game. Greg Dortch, 9 receptions, 103 yards. DeAndre Hopkins, 9 receptions, 91 yards. And A.J. Green, 5 receptions for 50 yards. For the San Francisco 49ers, Jimmy G getting it done. 20 completions on 29 attempts, 228 yards, and 4 impressive touchdowns. Elijah Mitchell looking like Doug Martin in his prime, running 9 carries for 59 yards, tearing it up in the third quarter. Christian McCaffrey himself had 7 carries for 39 yards. Deebo Samuel would get in with the carries as well. 3 carries, 37 yards, 7 receptions, and 57 yards. Beating up the Cardinals today. George Kittle would have a pair of touchdowns with 4 receptions and 84 yards. So, boys, not a very pretty sight. The Cardinals would get the first score to make it 3-0, but that's the last lead they would have. They would score a touchdown in the second quarter, and that is the last points the Cardinals would score in the game. I'm not going to go break down the play-by-play. You can go and look it up for yourselves. I think we just need to get right to it today. So, Michael Benjamin, I'm going to pass it to you first. What do you think about the Cardinals' performance tonight?
So this was definitely a notes game. I got my notes for the people. First and foremost, rain game to start. I had no idea. I would turn on ESPN and it's like downpouring. So I was like, oh, this is another great thing to add. We're not even actually at home. We're in a different country. We did start off pretty good. We had some good drives to start. It just didn't seem like there was enough to push the pace or anything that was really going downfield. Offense still struggling to really space the ball and push it downfield in any capacity. I mean, you look at Hopkins, he has 9 catches, but for 91 yards. So it's basically they're just giving him those really small stretches. And that's just basically what we've been seeing from this offense all season. The defense just started to crack from those long runs that McCaffrey and Deebo were starting to go off. You know, the turning point, it seemed, was really early off of that interception by Colt. And it wasn't even his fault, right? It went off the hands of James Conner. I know he never really wears gloves, but it's raining. I don't know. Maybe he would have worn gloves. He ended up fumbling it out of bounds later on in another drive as well. So that just kind of stuck in my mind for that. But, you know, they had plenty of possessions where they were working with a short field, and we got gashed all day long. So we did have a big drive to put it back to a 1-possession lead, but then the Niners just came out and gashed us. Buddha got pushed over by Deebo Samuel like a little high school boy simp. It was really sad. It showed that he's a really small guy, but you know, what are you going to say? And of course, Arizona sports find a way to make it into the record books, and Deebo Samuel's touchdown run was his longest of his career. When does it end, guys? When does this kind of stuff end? So the Niners only ran it 7 times in the first half for 33 yards. They come out in their first drive, run it 7 times for 71 yards. We couldn't stop anything. It was a struggle all game long. Then, of course, we see the Cardinals going for it on 4th down once again. 56% of the times the Cardinals have gone for it on 4th down in the opponent side of the field. That is crazy. You don't see that. I know we saw it on Hard Knocks last week where Cliff Kingsbury was saying, you got to have balls in this game. You got to have balls to go for it. Well, I mean, what's the real percentage completion of it, Cliff? And how many times have we seen those missed opportunities end up biting you in the ass and putting you even farther behind, and your team can't ever come back from it? I can't say too much bad, especially on that that play. Greg Dortch needed to sit down and read that defense a little bit better and sit down in the pocket there. There was just miscommunication, but Greg Dortch had a big game when he had his opportunities. We're at the point of the season now. He produces. You got to find a way to get him on the field, especially if you're just playing to figure out what's going to happen next season. You know, when it rains, it pours. The offensive line, once again, Billy, he sucks. Latita Smith, he sucks. Illegal formation on a damn extra point. I mean, these kind of things are just ridiculous, man. I don't know how it's possible for a team of professionals to come out and make this many mistakes. And Tallman, you were joking earlier about how it's crazy when Jimmy Garoppolo throws 4 touchdowns on you. Well, you know, we joke that Sean McVay is our daddy when it comes to the coaching side. Jimmy Garoppolo is our daddy when it comes to quarterbacks playing against us. 6 games, 17 touchdowns to 3 interceptions against us. 70% completion percentage. That guy owns the Cardinals. And just to make matters even worse, when the game was basically completely over, they bring in Brock Purdy, and he does a freaking backwards handoff, completely just not on the same page with his running back, and he still finds a way to get 6 yards out of it.
That was so embarrassing.
I mean, like I said, that was it. When it rains, it pours. You know, it was a rain game, and they put it all over us today. And I think I'm with Tallman. Let's go ahead and put this graphic right up here. It's over. The Arizona Cardinals are eliminated from playoff contention. And this team just quit. They quit down the stretch. I remember Troy Aikman was making a comment about Antonio Hamilton not even trying to make a tackle on Greg Kittle. That's not even his name, George Kittle. On his second touchdown, and your number 1 quarterback, franchise leader, struggling with a hamstring, finds a way to not get on the field once again in a huge game that could have had absolutely huge implications for a possible playoff run for this team. And now it's over, and we're going to start to see some heads rolling pretty soon here. But once again, disgusted. Arizona sports come out on national television and let us down in embarrassing fashion.
Wouldn't that be international television?
Well, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, even worse. What you just let off with, it is embarrassing. And for me, I think it's even embarrassing maybe for myself, because I was sitting there watching Hard Knocks this last week. And I know I had to remind myself it's a production. They're going to spin these guys in a great light. But it almost had you to start believing in this team just a little bit and what they might be capable of, where we were just talking before we started recording here that you thought it would have been a closer game. At least I think me and Michael Benjamin thought that it would have been a closer game. And to just get blown out of the water in this nature, we had to start Colt McCoy, our backup quarterback, because once again, your franchise quarterback that you just paid $200 whatever million can't play a full season. And now, as of today, there are reports that he might not come back until after the bye week, which is, I think next week we have the Chargers and then the bye week. So we're talking still out 3 weeks, missing 2-3 games in this span off of a mystery hamstring tightness, some type of injury. We can get into that. I know we're dissecting this game. This is the week 11 recap. So the last thing I just wanted to say and really highlight that I think Mike brought up was that play in the third quarter, I think, was the big deflating play on the 4th and 3 when Greg Dortch and Colt McCoy just weren't on the same page. And they even showed that Dortch kind of did like one of these. He knew that he kind of messed that up. It was all downhill from there. I will bring one fun fact before I throw it to Tallman. I can't remember if they brought this up on the broadcast for those of you who watched, but if you didn't know, Mexico City is at a very high elevation, sitting at 7,349 feet above sea level. For those of you who bring it into terms of the United States, a city and game that always gets a lot of attention for its high elevation is a game in Denver, Colorado, where the elevation is 2,100 feet lower at 5,279 feet. So these guys get gassed. You get gassed a lot easier at high elevation. And I just wonder if maybe, I don't want to throw maybe a conditioning problem out there, but maybe the Cardinals just didn't have the juice tonight to keep up with all the different people that ran the ball for San Francisco. I mean, they had 1, 2, 3, 4 guys consistently kind of in that rotation, and even Brock Purdy having 3 carries, but something to consider. But Tallman, I know you've been waiting patiently over here. What did you see tonight, and what are your takes on the Cardinals?
Yeah, so I mean, you guys touched on a lot of, what happened in the game, so I'm not going to waste anyone's time here. So I'll just focus on a couple things. I'm not surprised the Cardinals lost. I'm kind of in agreement with you guys that, we're surprised on how they did lose. I mean, this is the worst defense has looked since week 1 against the Chiefs, in a sense of just getting gashed for big plays, getting scored, getting 38 points dropped on us, getting shut out in the second half. So it just wasn't a good performance all around. And I know the defense, we're still missing a couple key guys. And man, you saw Isaiah Simmons shooken up towards the end. Zaylen Collins was hurt up a little bit. So it just was not a good performance by them. Not only did Baker get owned on that one play by Debo, he also got totally blocked out by the center 50 yards down the field or it wasn't 50 yards. His run was only 39 yards, but on that Debo run, the center's all the way down five yards outside of the end zone, making a play on Buda Baker. Like they just kicked our ass all around. Looking out at some other stuff, poor Colt McCoy. I don't know if you guys kind of felt the same. I just felt bad for him. I mean, I don't know how much success you expect anyone to have, even Kyler Murray behind that offensive line. I mean, we saw, them kind of get it rolling in the beginning of the game, the first quarter or so, but he was getting the ball out in 2-3 seconds. And in the second half, it was just looked like he was just getting beaten up and looked like he was laying it all out on the line for the team. And then the one pass in the first quarter, did you see that, guys, where he threw it to I had to look it up. I was like, who the hell is Anderson? Like 89? It was some tight end we picked up. I don't think I've seen a better thrown ball this year by a Cardinals quarterback. It was perfect, and it went right through this Steven Anderson guy's hands, right in the corner of the end zone. And I was like, damn! I was like, that was an absolute dime. So I think he's got the team. As in Cole is the leader right now. Number one, I think he lost control of the team, and I don't know. I mean, obviously McCoy's not the guy for the future, right? This is going to be a discussion for the rest of the season because I'm with you guys. It's over. I mean, I said it last week that it was over. It's definitely over now. So it's going to be really curious to see what happens with this football team in the leadership roles, not just the starting quarterback, but also the coach, also the general manager, just kind of see what happens because something has to change. This is obviously not working. It hasn't been working. I don't think it worked. It didn't work at all in a single week this year. Yeah, we won a couple games, but we won some games against some bad football teams. So we didn't earn any of those wins. So yeah, I think this is rock bottom, or I think we're approaching rock bottom. I think after we lose to the Chargers next week and we go into our bye 4-8 on the year, I think that's going to be rock bottom for this football team. And I'm curious to see what that morale is like in the locker room when they get to debut the third showing of Hard Knocks, show off our awesome football team to the whole country. So we've achieved rock bottom, guys.
It truly feels like it, honestly. I think all the hope I had has been sucked out of me. I mean, the schedule doesn't get any easier. There's no easier way to say it. We're back at home next week against the Chargers. Then we got the bye week, and I think the bye week is just coming too little too late. And I mean, after that, you got New England, Denver. I'm not really too worried about Denver. Tampa Bay, Atlanta hasn't looked half bad this season at times, and then San Francisco again. So there's just not any reason for me to be optimistic, and I think a lot of Cardinals fans are probably feeling that way. But we're going to continue to do these recaps regardless, win, lose, or tie, playoffs or postseason or no postseason. Playoffs and postseason are the same thing, but you know where to find us. So follow us at AZ_VSP on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Valley Sports Plug on Facebook and YouTube, of course. For VSP Tallman and Michael Benjamin, I'm Chris Patrick, and we'll see you next time.